ahead and get started. Let's make sure we've got 2 blocks and a blanket. And we'll start by putting our blocks to the upper corners of our mat, the blanket, push it off to the side. And then I want you to start by laying down on your abdomen and heads up, 7-up style. So we'll start in Nakrasana. And the first thing that we'll do once we find ourselves on our abdomen is I want you to cross your elbows and stack your forearms right on top of each other. And then notice if you want your big toes to touch and your heels to splay out, or if you want your toes to spin out and your heels to spin in. And then once you've got that sorted, if you need to, you'll walk your arms forward and put your forehead on the top of your forearms. And then once you find yourself there, I want you to start by taking a body scan. So you'll start at the soles of your feet and you'll work slowly and incrementally up through the heel and then up through the calves and the shins, across the knees, the thighs, the hips, paying attention to the pelvis, the abdomen, the low back, the front ribs, the back ribs, the chest region, the shoulder blades, the shoulders, paying attention to the neck, the back of the neck, the elbows, the forearms, the skull, your face. And you'll just see if you can relax any unnecessary tension there. And to help, it sometimes helps if you just breathe into your lowest part of the belly. And so as you inhale, just breathe into the low part of the belly, noticing that that inflates the low back. And then exhale, soften the low belly. And we'll just do that 2 more times. So really pressing, distending the belly into the floor, noticing how that widens the low back, and then softening and releasing that. And then you'll do that 1 more time. Big breath into the abdomen, into the low belly, into the pelvis maybe. And then you'll exhale and let that go. And then we'll bring our awareness up a little bit further. So you'll inhale into your front ribs, your side ribs, your back ribs. And then you'll exhale and soften the ribs. And you'll just do that 2 more times. So really pressing the front ribs down into the floor, widening the right and the left half of the ribs, and then breathing into the back of the body. And then exhaling, softening that out. And then last time, just breathing into the middle rib portion of your torso. Fantastic. And exhale, let that go. This time you'll breathe into the chest, into the shoulder region, into the shoulder blade region, and just see how much you can widen the breath 3-dimensionally here. And then exhale, let it go. And you'll do that 2 more times on your own, just really breathing into the ribs, upper chest, collarbones, shoulder blade region. Okay, and last time, big breath wide into the upper rib cage. All right. And then at the end of this exhale, you'll just let that go. And we're going to try what's called Viloma Pranayama. So you'll inhale into your lowest pelvic floor belly region 1/3 of the way, and then you'll pause. Then you'll breathe into your rib cage, the 2nd third of the way, and pause. Then breathe into your collarbones, the 3rd part of the way, and then exhale from the belly, from the ribs, from the chest. And you'll do that 2 more times. So big breath into the lowest part of the belly, pause. Draw breath into the middle ribs, pause. Draw breath into the upper ribs, chest, pause. And then exhale from the belly, from the ribs, from the chest. And last time on your own. And the Viloma Pranayama is just to help us ground. It also helps us extend the length of our breath. And then at the end of this next exhalation, just take 2 to 3 breath cycles on your own and just notice what you notice. Continuing to soften any tension around the neck or shoulders. Fantastic. All right, on your next in-breath, go ahead and lift your head up and away from your arms. Plant your arms alongside your lowest ribs, and then you'll inhale up to hands and knees. You might need to walk your knees forward, big toes touch, knees as wide as you'd like them to be, and then draw your bum back towards your heels. Walk your arms forward and allow the forehead to drop towards the floor for a child's pose. And you'll just take 3 breath cycles here, breathing into the belly, noticing how you can still breathe wide into the ribs and then into the low back. And then exhaling from the belly, from the ribs, and from the chest. Last big breath here. On your next inhalation, draw yourself forward to hands and knees. Plant the hands directly underneath your shoulders. Separate your knees so they're directly underneath your hips. And then go ahead and curl your right toes back, keeping the right leg long. And you'll just take a moment to breathe here, really pushing down into the hands, reaching back through your right heel and drawing your low belly in and up. And then you'll exhale and gently release the knee, planting it back next to the left knee. And then go ahead and switch sides. Left foot presses into the mat. Left knee is straight. Reach back through the left heel. Press down through both hands. Draw the low belly in just slightly. Nice work. Go ahead and exhale, release both knees down. Now go ahead and send your right leg back once again. Tuck the toes under. Hug all the muscles around the bone of your right leg. Press down into your hands and draw your low belly in. Now lift the back of your head a little bit so it feels like your head is directly in line with your spine. And then on your next in-breath, float your right leg parallel to the floor. Fantastic. Keep the arms active. Take a big breath in here and then exhale. Draw your knee to your nose, round through your spine. See if you can actually kiss your knee. And then inhale, send the leg back. And you've got 5 of these. So as you exhale, you round the knee underneath you. You round through the spine. You draw your forehead to your knee. And then you send it back as you inhale. And you've got 3 more on your own. You're pressing down through the hands a lot. We're working slowly and methodically to try to build the strength and heat of the core. Awesome. The next time your right knee comes under, you're going to hold in that position. So your right knee comes under, your nose tries to kiss your knee tries to kiss your nose, and you press the floor away for dear life as you try to lift your heel closer to your butt. And you breathe for 3, you breathe for 2, you breathe for 1. Nice job. Next in-breath, send the right leg back, extend the leg long, and then go ahead and lower the knee down to meet its mate. Take a moment to take a cat and cow here and just notice what that feels like. So both knees down, tabletop position, cats and cows. And you might notice that there's a difference between the right side and the left side, and that's completely okay. Fantastic. And then on your next inhalation, let's go ahead and come to a neutral position once again. Extend your left leg back, curl the toes under, pause there, press the floor away, hug all the muscles around the bone, and then float your left leg parallel to the floor. Still lengthening your tailbone back to your heel, take a big breath in. As you exhale, start to curl the knee underneath you and reach your forehead towards your knee. And then inhale, send the leg back. And we've got 4 more of those. And we're working very slowly and deliberately. Long, deep breaths, coordinating the breath with the movement with the breath. Fantastic. You should have 1 more on your own. Yep. And then the next time that left knee comes underneath, we'll go ahead and pause there. So the left knee will come under. You'll round your forehead to your knee. You'll press the floor away and see if you can draw your heel a little bit closer to your bum. Nice job. For 3, for 2, for 1. Inhale, send the foot back. And then exhale, lower the leg down. And then take a few cats and cows on your own. Just noticing how that feels, both knees down, both hands down. And you might find that this time with your cats and cows, you might want to start taking some barrel rolls. You might want to start looking right to left. But we're just starting to warm up the spine, and you're starting to attend to how it's feeling. Great. Let's go ahead and find our way back to a neutral position. From hands and knees, press down into the hands, draw the low belly in, and then send your right leg back once again. Now, again, hug all the muscles around the bone, float the right leg up, press down into your right hand even more, and float your left hand up, arm parallel with the floor. Hug into that imaginary midline between your inner left hand and inner right thigh, and we'll lengthen our tailbone back and breathe for 3. We'll breathe for 2. We'll breathe for 1. Next, exhale, just lower your left hand, sweep your right leg out to the right, parallel-ish to the floor, and then inhale, swing it back behind you. I'll do that 4 more times. So exhale, the leg goes out to the right, and inhale, it comes back towards the midline. Exhale out to the right, inhale back to the midline. Exhale out to the right, inhale back to the midline. This should be our last one. Exhale out to the right, and we'll hold there for 3. We'll hold there for 2. We'll hold there for 1. Lower the right leg down in line, so the right foot is in line with your left knee. From here, you might curl your left toes under. You might keep the left foot on the floor. You might start to walk your hands forward. You might lower your forearms down to the mat, but you're going to send your bum back so you can find a nice fun stretch on the inside edge of that right long straight leg. And then you just breathe and you pause and you breathe. Fantastic. Gently, if you walked your hands forward, start to walk the hands back so they're underneath your shoulders. Go ahead and sweep your right leg back. Lower the right knee down to meet the left. And then cats and cows on your own, just to see how that feels. Awesome sauce. Gently find your way to a neutral tabletop position. And then we'll try all that on the other side. So again, press down through your hands. Send your left leg back, curl the toes under, hug all the muscles around the bone. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale and float your left leg up parallel-ish to the floor. From here, shift more weight into your left hand and then reach your right arm forward for spinal extension. And we're going to lengthen our tailbone back, press our left inner thigh, right inner hand into that imaginary wall for 3. Lift the back of your head for 2. Draw the low belly in for 1. Next, exhale, lower just the right hand down. Take a big breath in, and then as you exhale, you'll swim your left leg out to the left, and inhale, swing it back behind you. And you've got 4 more of those. Just finding our outer hips, finding the rotation through our hips. Great. Exhaling, swinging the leg to the left. Inhaling, drawing it back. Exhale to the left and inhale behind you. So last one, leg goes out to the left and we'll hold for 3. We'll hold for 2. We'll hold for 1. Go ahead and lower the sole of the left foot to the floor. Notice what you want to do with your right toes. Either the top of the foot can stay on the floor or you can curl your toes under. And then you might walk your hands forward. You might lower your forearms down, but you'll start to send your pelvis back towards your back heel as you find a nice elongating stretch along the inner edge of your left thigh. And you'll just pause and you'll breathe. Fantastic. If you walked your hands forward, start to walk the hands back, hands directly underneath your shoulders. Inhale, swing your left leg back behind you, and then exhale, plant the foot next to you. Now this time, let's go ahead and walk our hands forward about 1 hand print. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, curl the toes under and lift your pelvis up and back for a downward facing dog. Now for this down dog, slowly bend just your right knee and feel what that feels like, especially my heel and Achilles people. Notice what that feels like to just bend one knee and feel the stretch in the long leg. And then on your next in breath, bend both knees. And then as you exhale, switch sides. And you're just slowly paying attention to what it feels like to slowly just bend one knee. And then as you're ready, you'll inhale and bend both knees and then walk the dog as you'd like, bending the knee as much as you want, straightening it as much as you want, and at whatever pace feels good to you a few times. Fantastic. All right. Let's go ahead and find our way to center, find our way to stillness. Let's go ahead and inhale and come forward into plank pose. Fantastic. Now, let's all push down through our hands, lift up through our armpits, and lift up through the back of our head. And then on your next in-breath, you'll shift your weight forward and lower all the way down onto your abdomen. When you find yourself on your abdomen, bring your forearms down to the mat and come up into a Sphinx pose. With our hands directly underneath us in a number 11 shape, we're going to isometrically push down into the hands and pull them back to pull our heart forward. Now spread wide through your toes and press all 10 toenails down into the floor. Press your pubic bone down and see if you can lengthen the tailbone back as you draw the low belly in. Now go ahead and drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. Isometrically pull back with your left hand, and then maybe open and close your mouth a few times just to find a nice stretch happening on the scalenes on the left side of your neck. And you're breathing, and you're breathing. Oh yeah, that's fun. And you're breathing. On your next in-breath, gently draw the head back to center. And then exhale will go to the opposite side. So you'll push down now into your left hand, isometrically draw it back, and then open and close your mouth a few times, just finding a nice stretch here. Awesome sauce. Next in breath, go ahead and come back to center. As you exhale, lower all the way down. Bring your hands alongside your lowest ribs. And then from here, we're going to do 3 little baby push-ups. But before we do anything, I want you to push your knees down into the mat. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears and shoulder blades onto your back. Now lift your head so your ears are in line with your shoulders and scoop your low belly in a lot. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, push the hands and knees down and bring the whole spine up to a weird tabletop position. And then exhale, you're going to bend the elbows and lower the whole spine back down. And you've got 3 of those. And we're trying to keep the core engaged the whole time. So your chest and your pelvis touch the floor at the same time. And your chest and pelvis lift away from the floor at the same time. So if you notice that your belly lifts before, or belly touches the floor before your chest does, or your chest comes off the floor before your belly does, engage the belly a little bit more so that everything touches and lifts at the same time. Yeah, nice job, guys. All right. After you've done 3, stay in that tabletop position, curl both sets of toes under, and then make your way back to a downward facing dog. Nice work. All right. Fantastic. Let's move on. Inhale. Here, as you exhale, draw your right knee to your nose and pause, really rounding under. So just hugging that in. Fantastic. Round through your shoulders even more, and then step your right foot between your hands. At this point, you might bring your hands to your blocks or keep your fingertips on the floor. It's totally up to you. Great. Now inhale, pull your heart and sternum forward and through. And then as you exhale, straighten the front leg long. Listen closely. You might repeat that. Inhale, come forward, heart reaches forward, bend the front knee. This time as you exhale, straighten the front leg and lift only the 5 toes of the front leg away from the floor. Yep, notice how that feels. Inhale, breathe, bend the front knee, come forward. Listen closely. Exhale, straighten the front leg long, maybe lift the whole sole of the foot and all 5 toes up towards your knee. Fantastic. Breathe. Awesome. Inhale, come forward, bend the front knee. You get to do that 3 more times. Do whichever version feels best to you or most interesting to you. You might also choose to do all 3. I found that surprisingly, just lifting the toes was the most intense on one side. And on the other side, lifting the whole sole of the foot was most intense. So you pay attention to what is happening for you as you're paying attention, especially my Achilles ankle people, the toes just lifting might find a lot of stretch on those outer ankles, Achilles. So you just pay attention. Awesome sauce. After you've done a total of 6, you're going to straighten the front leg long and you'll pause there and you'll breathe. You'll draw your outer right hip back. You'll pull your right kneecap up and send your inner left thigh back and you'll pause and you'll breathe and you'll pause and you'll breathe. Nice work, guys and gals. Next in breath, go ahead and come forward, bend your front knee. Listen closely. Let's go ahead and slide our left leg back a little bit further. Spin your left foot to the floor for a warrior 2. You might need to wiggle walk your right foot, so that's the front foot, wherever you need it to be in the middle of the back arch. Now from here, let's keep our right hand on the block to the outside edge of our right hand. Take a big breath in, and then as you exhale, scoop the low belly. Inhale, float your left arm up towards the sky to open your chest. Yep. And then exhale, let the left fingers drop back down to the floor or the block. Nice job. We'll do that 3 more times. So inhale, unwind, unfurl the spine, opening up. And then exhale, fingertips strip back to the floor or the block. Nice work. 2 more times. Inhaling. It also feels like you're an archer, or at least that's the image that it feels like to me as I'm unfurling my arm. It's like, ooh, there's tension there. I'm drawing the bow back. And then once it releases, it's up. Fantastic. This next time your left arm is up and overhead, let's stay there. Push down into both of your feet. Draw your outer right hip back, and then you might need to internally rotate your left thigh. From here, turn your left palm to face the top of your mat, and then swim your left arm alongside your ears, so you've got this long extended side angle. You'll stay here and breathe, pressing down into your right foot, pushing down into your right hand, and rolling your rib cage to the left. Some of you will continue to stay there. Some of you will sweep your left arm along the horizon until it's back alongside your hip. You'll turn your thumb to face the floor so your palm faces behind you, and then maybe you'll touch your outer right butt cheek with your left hand. From here, you might drop your right ear towards the right shoulder to find a little neck stretch as you're in extended side angle with a half bind. And you just pause and you breathe. Fantastic. Very gently, if you're taking that half bind, you'll bring your head back to center. You'll reach your left arm up towards the floor, and then it's floor sky. And then as you exhale, you'll curl the left hand back to the floor, put both hands onto your mat, and step your front leg back to meet your back leg and find yourself in plank. Nice work. Next in breath, shift your weight forward. As you exhale, lower slowly down all the way to your belly. Extend the tops of your feet onto the floor, and then inhale, pull your heart and sternum forward and through for cobra. And then you'll exhale and lower all the way down. Do cobra 2 more times. So press into the toes, keep the legs long, pubic bone down, tailbone lengthens, inhaling up. And then exhaling all the way down. And last time on your own. Inhaling, coming up to cobra. Legs are active, arms are active, chest is open. And then exhale all the way down. Nice work, guys. Now, curl both sets of toes under. Inhale, scoop your low belly. Exhale, push up, hands and knees. And then exhale, lower all the way back down. You're going to do 3 more little push-ups. And you want to make sure belly and chest lift and lower onto the floor at the same rate. Awesome. And after you've done 3, you'll stay in hands and knees, and then you'll make your way back to a downward facing dog. Wow, Sandy, your dog is huge. Sorry, I got distracted by that. And from down dog, you'll just pause and you'll breathe and you'll notice how it feels to be here now. Nice work. Next in breath, find more length in your spine. And then exhale, left knee to nose, round under a lot. Fantastic. Lift through the low belly. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and plant the foot between your hands. Fantastic. At this point, you might need to bring hands underneath your blocks And then you'll try your pulses 6 times. So the first time we'll inhale, gaze forward. As you exhale, straighten your front leg, shift your weight back, and notice what it feels like to just keep all 5 toes on the floor. And then inhale, bend the front knee, come forward. And then exhale, shift the weight back and lift just the 5 toes. Then inhale, come forward, bend the front knee. And then exhale, shift the weight back and lift the whole sole of the foot. Nice. And then you'll do that 3 more times on your own. So maybe you stay with trying all 3 variations. Maybe you notice that one of those variations was more interesting to you. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're allowing yourself to notice what is happening for you. Awesome sauce. After you've done a total of 6, you'll go ahead and stay with the front leg long. So left leg long, and you'll just pause and you'll breathe for a couple of breaths. So you're pulling the left kneecap up. If the left foot is coming away from the floor, you're engaging all 5 toes. And then you're noticing where you can soften any unnecessary tension. Nice work. Next in-breath, go ahead and come forward to a low lunge. Now spin your back foot down for a warrior 2. And if you need to wiggle walk your left foot a little bit, one way or the other, go ahead and do that. Draw the outer left hip back and under. Make sure the left hand is underneath the left shoulder on the block. And then as you inhale, you'll unfurl the right arm up towards the sky. And then exhale, draw the hand back down to the floor or block underneath you. And you've got 3 more on your own. And we're just working on finding a bit of rotation through the spine. We're finding articulation through the arm and the fingers and the breath. Julie, keep drawing your outer left hip back for me. So squeeze your left butt cheek. There you go. So your left knee keeps tracking over your left foot. Awesome. The next time your right arm goes up to the sky, you'll pause there. Keep pressing down into your front foot. Push down into your back foot. Push down into your front hand so your front armpit lifts up. And then turn your right palm to face forward and swim it the whole arm forward alongside your ears. Now continue to roll your left ribs under your right ribs on top. And you might choose to stay here and breathe in this extended side angle. You might sweep your right arm back along the horizon, along the right leg, turn the thumb to face the floor, the palm to face behind you, and maybe touch the outer left hip with your right hand. You might then drop your left ear towards the left shoulder to find a stretch on the right side of your neck. And you just pause and you breathe. Nice work. If your head dipped down, drop back to center with your spine. Reach the right arm up. And then exhale, lower the right fingertips back to the floor, pivot to the ball of the back foot, come to a low lunge, both hands on the mat. And then step your front foot back to meet your back foot, plank pose. Inhale, shift your weight forward, and exhale, lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to your up dog or cobra. And then exhale, make your way back to your downward facing dog. And you just pause and you breathe when you get there. Pause and you breathe when you get there. Yeah, nice work, guys. Okay, nice variation, Julie. Let's go ahead and add on your next in-breath. Let's go ahead and sweep your left leg up and back behind you. I want you to pause here. When that left leg is high, pay attention to what's happening in your shoulders. Can you lift your head away from the floor a little bit so the head is in line with the arms? Yep. Can you reach down through your right heel a little bit more so you feel a stretch happening on your right heel? And then can you kick the left leg a little higher? Nice work. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, knee to nose, hug in, round in, hover. Inhale, send the leg up and back. 3-legged dog. Fantastic. 2 more times on your own. And you're wanting to pay attention to what's happening in your shoulder joint the whole time you do this, making sure the leg is lifting. Awesome. Okay, the next time your left leg comes underneath you, you're gonna stay there and hover. Lift your butt, lift your heel a little bit closer to your butt, and then take a big breath in and exhale, plant the left foot between your hands. Fantastic. Now at this point, you might want to bring hands to blocks again. You're going to push down into your front foot. You're going to push down into your back foot. And then from here, you're going to start to make your fingertips light so you'll lift your spine on a diagonal line. You'll then bring one hand to its same hip, the other hand to its same hip, push down into the feet, and then bring your spine up to vertical for this high crescent lunge shape. Now with the hands on the hips, let's draw the shoulder blades together on the back and lift up through the heart space and lift up through the gaze. Fantastic. Go ahead and we'll keep our left hand on our left hip and inhale, sweep your right arm alongside your ear. Now take a big breath in here. As you exhale, push the floor away to straighten your left leg long. Fantastic. From here, let's go ahead and reach forward, out and down, and lower our right hand to a block or the floor underneath our right shoulder. Now, with your left hand still on your left hip, you can pull your left hip back. Lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor. And then on your next exhale, let's start to rotate our right low belly towards the left, drawing the left low belly in, and then drawing your right rib cage underneath you to turn towards the left. From there, you might stay there, or you might peel your left arm up towards the sky for a variation of revolved triangle. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing how that feels. Nice work. On your next exhale, you're going to inhale and find more length. And then exhale, lower the left hand down to the floor. Now listen closely. Bend your front knee. Stay on the ball of the back foot and shift your weight forward to lift your right leg parallel-ish to the floor. Now we're in a warrior 3 variation. You might stay there. You might start to lift your right leg even more and draw your head towards the floor for a standing splits variation. But you pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. Fantastic. Gently bend your front leg, so that's your left leg. Step the right toes long and back. Put them down on the floor for a low lunge. Plant both hands on the mat, and then step yourself back to plank. Fantastic. You can choose to stay there or cycle through an up dog or cobra, your choice. But we'll all make our way back to a downward facing dog when we're ready. Okay, nice work. Now, some of you started with the right leg. So if you started with the right leg, do the left leg now, but most of us are going to start with the right leg. So inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. Pause here. Check in with your shoulders. Keep lifting up through the inner armpits. Lift your head in line with your arms. Reach down through your left heel and up through your right heel. On your next exhale, round your knee to your nose, drawing it underneath you. Yep. And then inhale, send it back, lifting the leg high, reaching the left heel down. Great. And you've got 3 more on your own. And you're just really coordinating the breath. And yeah, Julie, you can do bird dogs if you want, or just cat and cow there. Awesome sauce. The next time your right leg is underneath you, go ahead and pause. Round your spine, lift your right heel closer to your pelvis, your nose closer to your knee closer to your nose. Fantastic. Go ahead and plant the foot between your hands. Yep. You might then bring your hands to your blocks. Great. From here, start to make your hands a little bit lighter. Lift your spine so you've got a diagonal going from your back heel to your front heel. And I want you to really engage all the muscles of your back leg. From here, start to walk one hand to its same hip, the other hand to its same hip. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and bring your spine up to vertical. Now we want to keep that back leg super engaged, especially around our tuchus. It can kind of get a little not engaged. So we want to make sure it stays engaged. And then keep your right hand on your right hip. Inhale, sweep your left arm up and overhead. As you exhale, scoop the low belly in, push the right sit bone down to the right heel, straighten the right leg long. And then inhale, start to reach forward, out and down to hinge at the hips, lowering your left hand to the block or floor underneath your left shoulder. Great. From here, lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor. Keep pulling your outer right hip back with your hands. Now, scoop your low belly in and you'll wrap your left ribs underneath you. Your right ribs will stack on top and you'll start to roll your rib cage towards the right. You might happily stay there. You might start to peel your right arm up towards the sky. And again, we're hugging our shoulder blades together on the back. We're leaning our heart back into the length and strength of our shoulders. Fantastic. On your next in-breath, we'll find a little bit more length. As you exhale, lower your right hand back down to the floor or block beneath you. Now bend your front knee, shift your weight forward, and then lift your back leg parallel-ish to the floor. And you might stay here in this warrior 3 variation. You might continue to allow your head to drop towards the floor as you lift up through your inner left thigh, finding a standing splits variation, but you'll breathe for 3. You'll breathe for 2. You're doing great. You'll breathe for 1. Gently bend your front knee. Step the back toes long and back for a low lunge. Plant your hands on the mat. Step your front foot back to the back foot for plank. Stay there or cycle through an up dog or cobra. Nice variations, guys. That looks good, Barbara. Yeah. Push-ups, Barbara, go! Awesome. And then when you're ready, you'll make your way back to a downward facing dog. And then from down dog, we're going to go ahead and bend our knees and walk to the top of our space to a forward fold. When you get to the top of your space, separate your feet hip distance apart. You might grab opposite elbow if that feels nice to you. You might grab the back of your head if that feels nice to you. You might have your hands on the blocks, and then all of you might stay still, or you might choose to take some movement. And that movement could be a rocking of the spine or a swinging of the torso, the arms. It could be the bending of one knee and then the other. Those with tight legs, the bending of one knee and then the other might feel super nice and also intense. Okay, those in movement. Let's go ahead and come to a still neutral position. All of us grab one of your blocks and slide it between your shin bones on first or second setting. Now, once you're here, I want you to lift all 10 toes up and away from the floor. Spread wide through your toes and then lower your toes back down. Then you might shift the weight forward a little bit, lift your heels a smidge off the floor, and then recenter them so the whole weight of your foot is even. Now from there, squeeze into that block, and then inhale, reach your heart and sternum forward. Draw the shoulder blades down the back and away from the ears. Next in-breath, bend the knees. And then as you exhale, sweep your arms back alongside your hips, palms face up. Now, next in-breath, you'll start to shift your pelvis back, swing your arms forward, and maybe they stay like zombie arms, or maybe they extend alongside your ears for Utkatasana, chair pose. But we'll pause and we'll breathe for 3. You're squeezing your block for 2. You're sitting low for 1. Nice job. Next in-breath, squeeze the block, stand up, reach up, look up. And then as you exhale, gently open the arms out and allow the fingertips to come back alongside your hips. Take a moment to soften the gaze or close the eyes and just notice how you feel now. Great. If the eyes are closed, gently open the eyes. Look down, remove your block, and bring one block to the top of your mat and one block to the back of your mat. And then let's turn to face the long edge of your mat. So, Barbara, if you want to turn around and face the windows, by all means, face your windows. I don't know where your windows are. Face your windows. There you go. And then once we're established, let's go ahead and separate our feet about 3 to 4 feet apart. Because we're all facing different directions, just listen for the directions of your body. So turn your right toes to face the short edge of your mat. Then go ahead and turn your left toes in slightly so they're also facing that same direction. Bring your hands to your hips if they're not, and then bend your front knee. So for most of us, that should be our right knee. Fantastic. From here, let's internally rotate our back leg and then see if you can even bend that front knee even more so it's closer to a 90-degree angle. Closer, but doesn't need to be. Then look at your front knee and make sure the front knee is centered over the second and third toes of that same foot. Fantastic. From there, reach your back arm back, so your left arm back, palm faces down, and imagine you're some Spanish bullfighter and you've got a cape and you're saying hello or whatever they say to the bulls. So really long, strong, active back arm. From there, go ahead and turn and gaze towards the front hand. Reach the right arm forward to match the energy and intensity of the left arm. Fantastic. Now, some of you are going to stay right here, happy as a clam, breathe. Some of you are going to reach forward through that right arm, lower the right fingertips to the floor or block, right forearm to the top of your thigh. Choose whichever option works best for you. And then you'll sweep your back arm, your left arm forward alongside your ears. Now, we did extended side angle before, but this variation might feel a little different. And now I want you to lengthen your tailbones back a lot, hug your outer right hip back a lot, and really rotate the right ribs under. There you go, Sandy, so that you find that length in the spine. Nice job. Fantastic. Next in-breath, sweep your left arm back, return to Virabhadrasana 2. Awesome sauce. Go ahead and press the floor away to straighten your front leg long. Now really pay attention to your back arm. You're that Spanish bullfighter. Lots of energy there. Keep that energy there, but now tug of war, reach forward through your right arm, shift your pelvis back to the left, and then lower the right fingertips to block shin or floor for Utthita Trikonasana. The back arm is still very active. Now from there, sweep your left arm either up towards the sky for a 180-degree angle with the right arm, or turn the palm to face forward and elongate your left arm alongside your ears for an extended triangle with a long stretch happening on your left side body. And you just pause and you breathe. Keep drawing your outer right hip back and rolling your right ribs under. Yeah. Awesome sauce. Next in breath, sweep the left arm back, come back to warrior 2. Awesome sauce. Okay, let's bring both of our hands to our hips for a moment. Wiggle walk your back foot in about 3 inches or so. So your back foot wiggle walks in. Oh, I love that, Sandy. That's fun. Okay, keep your left hand on your left hip. Reach your right arm forward, like out to the future. Now you're going to reach that right arm so far forward that it's going to come to the block or floor outside of your right leg. From there, you'll shift your weight forward, float your back leg parallel-ish to the floor, and find yourself in Ardha Chandrasana, half move. Now, once you start to get there, you might need to keep your bottom leg bent. So that's the right leg. And then lift up through that inner left thigh by squeezing your outer left hip like we did on our hands and our knees. Yeah. And then maybe you peel the top arm up as you hug the shoulder blades together. Nice work, guys. Nice work. Very gently, gaze comes to the floor. Left hand comes back to the left hip. Bend the right knee. Step the left foot long and back confidently. Warrior 2. Yay! All right. And then go ahead and straighten the front leg long. Turn both legs parallel to the short edge of your mat. Hands on your hips. Draw the shoulder blades together on your back and heart lifts up. Now from here, you'll start to hinge forward. Once you're about halfway, so spine is parallel-ish to the floor, pause. Assess whether your hands would like to come to the floor underneath your shoulders. And if so, bring them there. And then if not, you'll all continue to start to make your way to the floor. So head reaching towards the floor. And once we get to the floor, those with hands on the hips, they stay there. Those with hands on the floor, notice where you want to put your hands on the floor. Do you want them underneath the shoulders? Do you want to walk them away from your spine so you feel like you're almost in this prasarita downward facing dog shape? Do you want to walk them back behind you? You choose which one feels best for you in this moment and just breathe. Awesome sauce. Let's go ahead and walk our hands so they're underneath our shoulders, wherever that means for you. Then let's bend our knees to about a 90-degree angle. Lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor. Reach your heart forward. It's a weird, awkward squat. Oh, that looks good for all of us. Good job. Draw one hand to one hip. Draw the other hand to the other hip. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Draw your chin slightly to your sternum, and then inhale, come all the way up. Nice work. Take a moment to let your nervous system catch up. And then we'll go ahead and try that on the other side. So that's cute, Jenny. So now your left toes are facing the short edge of your mat. Your right toes are spinning in to face that same direction. Adjust your feet as necessary for you. And then we're going to start to bend into our front knee. Now, when that front knee starts to bend, we're working towards a 90-degree angle. So maybe you have to wiggle walk the back foot back a little bit. And then check in with your front knee. Make sure it's aligned over the center of your second and third toes. And then all going to be Spanish bullfighters today. So reach back through your right arm, really strong, active energy. Your cape is your life. So really active energy. And then once you've got that going on, you'll take your gaze towards the front hand. Reach forward through the front hand with the same amount of energy and intensity to balance the spine. Nice work. Some of you will stay here in warrior two. Some of you will reach forward through that left hand, maybe lowering left forearm to the top of left thigh, maybe lowering left fingers to floor or block. And then from there, you'll sweep your right arm alongside your ears for Uttita Parsva Konasana. And again, we want to see if we can still externally rotate our left leg, slightly internally rotate, so that's your front leg, Sandy. And then internally rotate your back leg. Lengthen your tailbone down to your inner right heel, and wrap your left ribs under, stacking your right ribs on top. Nice job. Next in-breath, sweep the right arm back, return to Virabhadrasana 2. Great. Push down into the front leg, left leg, straighten the left leg long. Now reach back through your back arm a lot, and then tug of war through the front arm. Shift your hips to the right, so that's behind you, and then reach forward, out and down with that left hand. That looks good. Lowering left hand to maybe shin, block, or floor. You'll then start to maybe reach the right arm up 180 degrees. You might reach the right palm forward and then elongate the right arm alongside the right ear and find a nice lateral stretch across the side body. That looks good, Laura. Nice, Jenny. Jenny, wrap your left ribs under a little bit more and then lean your heart back into your shoulders. Yeah, fantastic. Next in-breath, sweep your right arm back and return to Virabhadrasana 2. Bring your hands to your hips. Wiggle walk your back foot in just a few inches. Great. Keep your left toes facing the short edge of your mat. Then reach forward through your left arm. You'll bend your left knee, reaching the left hand to the floor or block outside of your left knee. Shift your weight forward, float your right leg parallel-ish to the floor. If you notice, if you bend the left knee more, it allows you to work the right leg, so that's the top lifted leg. And then you'll squeeze your outer right hips, those are your top butt cheeks, to lift the inner right thigh even more. Nice job. Then you might peel your right arm up towards the sky, squeeze shoulder blades onto the back, and maybe gaze to the right. Nice work, guys. Fantastic. Very gently, bring your top hand to your top hip. Turn your gaze to the floor. Bend your bottom knee, step your right foot long and back, and find yourself in warrior two. Nice job, guys. From here, go ahead and straighten your front leg long. Turn both legs parallel to the short edges of your mat. Now I want you to all look down and make sure both feet are parallel to each other. And then some of you, yeah, that looks good, Laura. And then some of you will bring your hands to your hips and just keep them there, hugging shoulder blades together on the back. Some of you will interlace your hands at your low back. Okay, if you've taken hands to low back interlace, draw the shoulders up towards the ears, draw the shoulder blades together on the back, and reach one palm back towards the floor and behind you. Next in-breath, lift heart, and then exhale, start to hinge forward halfway. Once you get halfway, you'll notice if your hands can stay there. If not, no worries. Release them down the legs into the floor. If they can, you'll let your head drop to the floor. From there, hands might reach up towards the sky and then maybe back over your head. But you're just going to pause and you're going to breathe. The shoulder blades are engaged on the back body. You're noticing if you're breathing, and then see if you can let any more weight go in your noggin. Yeah, nice work. Mindfully bring the hands back to your bum. Bring them down the outer edges of the legs and to the floor. Now, from here, really make sure your legs are parallel to each other. And we're going to bend just our right knee. Send your butt back, and maybe you can lower your forearms to the floor. Maybe you walk your hands forward. So it's a variation of what we did on our hands and our knees, but you're just bending the right knee. You're sending your butt back. You're pressing down on the outside edge of your left foot. Nice job. Next in-breath, go ahead and straighten your right leg long. Reposition your hands if you need to so they're underneath your shoulders. And then we'll bend our left knee. And then you might lower your left elbows, both elbows to the floor. You might reach your arms forward, but you're pressing your pelvis back. You're rooting the right pinky toe down into the floor, and you're finding length through your inner right thigh. Fantastic. Go ahead and inhale and straighten that leg long. Now, your choice. You can take skandasana, so maybe a variation of what we just did. So bending one knee and shifting your weight over to that side. You might externally rotate the legs and try to draw your butt, your heel close to your pelvis close to your heel. Jenny looks at me, she's like, what does that mean? So going all the way down, almost like a ninja karate chop position is skandasana. But you're paying attention to what works for you. And you're working through both sides. So maybe you pause and breathe on one side and then you go to the other one. Nice work, guys and gals. You're all doing great. Great. And then once you've gone to both sides, an equal number of sets, let's go back to center. Okay. From center, walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Wiggle walk your feet in just a smidge. There you go. Now bend your knees. Draw your right hand to your right hip, your left hand to your left hip. Lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor, squeeze the shoulders, and then inhale, come all the way up. Once you find yourself all the way up, if you're dizzy at all, drop your chin to your chest and breathe there for a moment. And then we're going to take goddess/horse stance. So externally rotate your legs, turn your toes out to face the upper corners of your mat, and then start to bend your knees into a second position in dance, goddess position in yoga. And you might bring your hands to your thighs and lock out your elbows. Typically don't say that, but it's a nice release in the spine. And you might just stay there, elongating the spine. You might take a rotation, so maybe reaching your right shoulder towards your inner left knee. And then inhaling, coming to center, and then exhale, go to the other side. And when we're doing this, we're trying to keep our spines actually pretty long as we're taking the rotation. So it's not a rounded rotation, it's a long rotation. Great. And if you've done your little rotations, make sure you're even between both sides, and then we'll come back to center. Awesome. Once you find yourself back in center, hands release to heart center. You can choose to stay there. You can cactus the arms out, hug the shoulder blades together, but we'll breathe here for 3. We'll breathe here for 2. We'll breathe here for 1. Next in breath, push down through the feet, straighten the legs. Go ahead and turn your feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. Lower your hands to your sides. And then you can either wiggle walk your feet together or step or hop your feet together. Nice work. All right, let's go ahead and step to the top of our space. From there, stand with your feet hip distance apart. And then inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, plank pose. Lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale through Up Dog or Cobra. Exhale back to Downward Facing Dog. And then we'll all lower into Child's Pose and rest. You'll just pause and you'll breathe and you'll rest. And when you find yourself in Child's Pose, take whichever variation feels good to you. So some of you will sweep arms back behind you. Some of you will make little fists and put the little fists in your bellies. Some of you will take prayer hands. Some of you will take diamond hands. But you choose what option feels best to you. So this week I've been thinking about something I said to my scene partner in rehearsal. You know, we take all these classes where we learn all these different tools and all these different skills. But at the end of the day, we need to remember that we don't need to utilize everything that we learn. Everything that we've accomplished doesn't need to be taken with us every single moment of our lives. It's just when that tool is needed, you know? And so our practice reminds us of that. We don't need to do every single shape every single time. We don't need to remember every good piece of advice anyone gave us. It's just when it's needed. So when you're here at this moment, I'd like you to remember what are the tools that you actually need to use right now. You all are very skilled in various ways, far beyond any other person's knowing of you. And you know you better than any other person. So what tools might you need to actually utilize given whatever situation you're experiencing in your life? And you just take 3 more breath cycles here, allowing yourself to settle in with that. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale and bring your spine up to vertical. Okay. When you are vertical, bring a hip to the floor and then swim your legs around in front of you or swing, whichever option works better for you. Okay. At this point, some of you might want to sit on your blanket. Some of you will not. But if you do choose to sit on your blanket, we're starting off with it in the quartered position. And then we're going to fold it over into thirds. And then you would put your butt on the blanket. And you'll notice that my blanket is super long and back behind me. Fantastic. And then you might also bring your blocks alongside your hips as well. Now, my knee people may not do this. You'll just see how it goes for you, but you might decide you do not wish to do that, and that's totally fine. We're going to go ahead and start by bending just our left leg. Our right leg is super long and straight. Now, holding on to your left ankle with your left hand, your right hand will come off to the right. You'll shift your weight to the right. You'll swim your foot back behind you. So now, theoretically, both knees are in alignment with each other. The blanket is there in case if you need to have some elevation underneath your right hip. And if so, you'll move the blanket if you need to, or lift it up if you need more height. Fantastic. From here, we'll start to walk our hands back. And some of you will just stay right here. This is a nice stretch happening to the quadriceps, and that might feel good. Some of you will lift your pelvis, curl your tailbone under, and maybe lower down to your forearms. And you're like, yep, that's good. You might find that this is hard to get from your straight arms to your forearms. And so that's why your blocks are there, because they just give you a little bit more height so that you can get a little lower, but you're not all the way down. And then some of you will be able to just stay here with both forearms down. And then we're going to all work to elongate our right leg. So pulling all 5 toes back towards your knee, your kneecap up towards your hip, pushing down into the top of the left foot, drawing your shoulder blades together, and then heart and chest reach up. Maybe gaze comes up towards the sky. We'll breathe here for 3. We'll breathe here for 2. We'll breathe here for 1. Fantastic. We're gently going to come out of this. So however you went down, slowly come back up. Grab your left ankle with your left hand. Keep the knee closed. Bring the left foot in front. And then extend the left leg long. And then you might need to roll your left ankle a little bit if that felt or feels good to you when you do that now. Shift your butt on your blanket now. So now it's a little bit lopsided. And then you'll bend your right leg, grab your right ankle with your right hand, lean a little bit to your left, swim your right heel back behind you, and both knees hopefully in the same-ish line. Pull your toes up to your knee back to your hips, and maybe you just walk back the hands and you just stay here finding a stretch across the belly of your right thigh. You might lift your pelvis up and find that you need to bring elbows to blocks, and that might help. You might bring your elbows all the way down to your blanket or the floor. And for here, we're really working to lengthen the tailbone forward to your left leg. The left leg is super strong and active. And we're on our forearms today so we can engage the back body. So the heart lifts up, shoulder blades are lifted, neck is being worked a little bit as the face looks up. Awesome sauce. Very mindfully, we're going to start to come out of this. You'll come back up to sit. Grab your right ankle with your right hand, keep the knee closed, draw the heel forward, extend the leg long, and then circle your ankles if that feels good. Great. Okay, let's go ahead and turn around and then lie down on our backs. Make sure your blocks are somewhere nearby. Blankets somewhere nearby too. We are working towards Shavasana, so if it's cold and you have a sweater and you want to put that on, it might be good to put that on before you lay down. Nice work. Once you find yourselves on your backs, you'll go ahead and bend your knees and plant your feet firmly on the floor. From here, open the arms out into a T shape. Walk your feet a little bit wider than your hips. And then you'll slowly allow the legs to fall one way. And then you'll inhale back through center and you'll slowly allow the legs to fall the other way. And you'll just take this about 4 more times, so 2 times to each side. And you're just allowing yourself to pause and breathe. You're noticing what it feels like to let one leg internally rotate as the other leg externally rotates. Yeah, nice work, Laura. Laura, let the legs all the way go to the floor if they can. Yeah, there you go. Does that feel different? Okay. You're just pausing and you're breathing. Awesome. And then once you've done a total of 3 sets, we'll go ahead and come to stillness. And then you'll do that clamshell thing. So keeping all 10 toes on the floor, you'll inhale and open the legs wide. And then exhaling, close knees together. And you'll do that about 10 times. And you're, again, just feeling what it feels like. So especially my people with low back, this is supposed to help bring the 2 innominate bones of the pelvis. So like, I don't know why they're called this, but the right side and the left side of the hips, those are called the innominate bones. And so you're trying to bring them back into symmetry with each other. Barbara, turn your feet parallel if you can. Are they parallel? There you go. Okay. Awesome. And you want to keep all 10 toes on the floor, especially as you open the legs. Especially as you open the legs, the big toe mound doesn't come up. There you go, Steve. Awesome. And then once you've done that a few times, go ahead and come to stillness. From here, some of you will walk your feet so they're parallel and hip distance apart. You might then grab one of your blocks and put it between your inner upper thighs. You might grab the other block and then just slide it underneath your sacrum. Now, some of you will just stay here in this supported bridge pose. Some of you will say bye-bye to that block and either reach one end or both legs up towards the sky. Some of you might reach one end or both legs down along the floor beneath you. Don't worry, you could do that too, Jenny, that works. And you'll just pause and you'll breathe. You'll take a few breath cycles here, just noticing what you notice. Awesome. You'll take a few more breath cycles. When you are ready, you'll start to bend your knees and slowly replant the feet on the floor if they were lifted. Before you lift your pelvis up and away from the block, you'll engage your butt, your glutes. You'll lift your hips up. You'll remove the block. Some of you might stay there for a few breath cycles in this bridge shape. Some of you may not. And then you'll all bring your pelvis back down to the floor. When your pelvis finally hits the floor, you'll take a few breath cycles to be still. And in that stillness, I'd like you to pose a question of what tool do you have at your disposal that you might use now? So for some of you, it might be like a Supta Baddha Konasana. It might be a happy baby. It might be a supine twist. It might be some core work. Like, what is the tool that you have that you can actually utilize at this moment in time? I think the biggest challenge for a lot of us, I'll speak for myself, is that we do gain a lot of tools, we gain experiences, we gain certifications and badges and stuff. But the real trick is knowing experiences, we gain those too. The real trick is knowing when to properly utilize them. And so as you're here, we're starting to develop that muscle to trust in our own intuition, our own inner knowing. So as you're continuing to explore what feels best to you, you've got about another 1 to 2 minutes to do whatever feels appropriate for you. And if you've done something asymmetrical, I would encourage you to visit the other side. And then when you feel ready, you'll make your way into whatever your final shape will be for today. And because it is a little cold and the body does tend to drop in temperature as we're in Shavasana, if you'd like to wrap the body with a blanket or something, by all means, please do that. Right. And then as you're ready, we're gonna come back to the Viloma pranayama that we started with. So make sure you're settled in your body. So if you need to wiggle or move just a little bit so the right and the left halves feel equally rooted and grounded, by all means, please do so. And then we'll start by bringing our awareness just to our low belly. You'll inhale and fill your low belly. And notice how that fills the low back as well. And then exhale, let that go. And you'll do that 2 more times, filling the low belly. And then exhaling and letting that go. And last time, filling low belly, low back, maybe even pelvic floor. And exhaling, letting that go. Then you'll bring your awareness to the middle ribs and you'll inhale and widen the middle ribs. Maybe front ribs float up, back ribs press down. And then exhale and let that go. And you'll do that 2 more times, filling the middle ribs, the sides, the back, the front, the middle ribs. And exhale, let that go. And third time, widening the middle ribs, low back, low belly. Awesome. Then exhale, let that go. And then third set, just breathe into your upper ribs, collarbones, shoulder blades, chest region. And exhale, let that go. And you'll do that 2 more times on your own. And last time, filling the ribs, the chest, the collarbones, the armpits. Okay, now we're going to insert Viloma here. So next time you breathe in, fill the low belly 1/3 of the way and pause. And fill the middle ribs 1/3 of the way and pause. And fill the upper ribs 1/3 of the way. And then exhale from the belly, from the ribs, from the chest. We'll do that 2 more times. So inhale, fill the low belly 1/3 of the way and pause. Fill the ribs 1/3 of the way and pause. The upper chest 1/3 of the way and pause. And then exhale from the belly, from the ribs, from the chest. Last time. Inhale, fill the low belly 1/3 of the way. Pause. Middle ribs 1/3 of the way. Pause. Chest 1/3 of the way. And then exhale from the belly, through the ribs, through the chest. Go ahead and take a few natural breath cycles on your own, allowing yourself to just fall into your Shavasana. As you do, I invite you to just notice how much you can let go into the support beneath you, trusting that it will always be there whenever you need to actually utilize it, to call upon it. I'll leave you here with you for a few moments and a few breath cycles, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, allow yourself to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape, by all means, just stay here. When you are ready to move on with your day, allow small, gentle movement to re-enter into your physical form. Those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, you'll start to roll over to one of your sides and you'll pause there for a few breath cycles. From your side, you'll roll your chest more towards the floor. Press into your top hand and draw yourself to a tall and comfortable seat. When you find yourself vertical, I do encourage you to elevate your bum on a block or a blanket, keeping the gaze soft or the eyes closed. Notice what it feels like to really find weight in your feet, in your shins, and your knees, and your pelvis, to find the lift through the spine, to draw the shoulders over the hips and the ears over the shoulders. And then you'll relax any tension around your mouth, your tongue, your jaw, your eyes. Go ahead and bring your right hand to your heart space. Stack your left hand right on top of the right. And you'll just take 3 breaths here. You have all the tools you need for whatever life has thrown at you at this present moment. You just need to remember to breathe, to trust in the intuition, the knowing beneath your hands, and all will be well. We're going to go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms towards each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum, and then press your sternum into your thumbs. Soften any tension around your throat, and then exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light and the breath and the knowing within me honors and salutes the light, the breath, and the knowing within each of you. Namaste.